architecture, new experience, ancient cities and penises. Hello, what's up? Gleb Alexandrov here for CreativeShrimp.com and welcome to the new episode of the Ask Gleb podcast. Today we'll talk about traveling. And traveling is my passion and not so much, because I'm pretty freaking scared to travel usually because so many bad things can happen. For example, you can see this or you can hear jazz music. Many bad things can happen. Shit can happen when you travel. But if you consider yourself to be an artist, a visual thinker, and a creative shrimp or a creative person, if you like, traveling and seeing new stuff is a crucial thing to renew your visual library in your head. Lena and me spent 10 days traveling through Europe. We were mainly in Italy, but we also visited some other cities and countries. We were in Munich, in Prague, in Vienna, and I love these cities. And basically, it wasn't the Hunter Thompson kind of a trip. We were not using stimulators and trucks and all this stuff, but it was a hell of a ride. And in this podcast, I want to share with you the most exciting things I saw while we were traveling. So keep watching. Coffee. The first thing maybe I was paying attention to was architecture in Rome and Vatican, because seeing such awesome references with your own eyes in 3D is so much better than seeing the photos of them. And when you study the architecture in Rome, in Florence, you think, wow, these modelers were so great. It's very interesting to analyze how the shapes interact and so on. So, as I've said, if you consider yourself to be a 3D artist, it would be very helpful to study these forms and shapes. Even when you are on vacation, you still can work, in a sense. You still can continue generating ideas. I like the shader on this David Jones statue. And I can really comprehend how the ambient occlusion works in real life. How dust and grime collected the crevices of this ancient stuff. And I thought to myself, because I see it with my own eyes, and the most of it I see for the first time, the visual impression, the visual experience is very strong. It works on a totally different level than surfing through the photos on Pixabay, for example. That said, I love Pixabay. And of course, it's not only about the geometry. We can learn so many different things by traveling. And in Rome, I was wearing this expression all the time, just like, oh my dear goodness. So guys, if you live in Rome, congrats to you. Such a great city. Okay, and this is photo from Venice. You can see the real-life version of the array modifier in action. And just by looking at this architectural awesomeness, you can easily tell that rhythm is so important in visual arts. Rhythm is everywhere. And when combined with the angle, because you see the most of these buildings from the eye level, it gives a very epic impression. So basically, I was taking notes. Rhythm, check. Scale, check. Camera positioned at the ground level? Alright, check. Because definitely Romans knew how to create an epic epic architecture. But I think my pajamas is epic too. Especially with Hunter Thompson style hats. Okay, another thing I was paying attention to was color. And keep in mind that I was taking photos on a pretty shitty smartphone, but afterwards, when I was checking the photos, and I saw this yellow Wall-E type of character, I thought, wow, this is an awesome idea for the robot render. And in this photo you can see the powering up laser of StarCraft. Maybe it's just me, but St. Paul's Cathedral in Vatican looks a bit sci-fi-ish. This complementary contrast, maybe it's because the complementary contrast, the Hollywood-style color grading, and you can meet interesting details everywhere. Not just in the epic places. The contemporary stuff, like posters, can give you a bunch of ideas too. I feel that it's so freaking incredible to see all the procedural textures and color splashes and all that stuff in real life. It gives me a whole different perspective on 3D, on what we make in computer graphics. And the more weird, strange, and foreign and unpredictable it looks, the better. Because things really appear when they are taken out of context. And if you bring a decent camera with you, you can also capture a bunch of really good textures. Like this door, or the details of this building, whatever. So I dare say that traveling and taking photos is gonna automatically improve your composition skills. For example, I would never thought about creating this kind of horizontal composition divided in 3 slices. And this passage turned out to be very interesting too. It can be easily transformed into a great render. I don't mind if you use this idea, make amazing render, drop me a line, and I will tell you how proud I am. I like this one, taken in Pantheon in Rome. Very, very minimal, I like it. Okay, and this is a pretty good composition too. This guy seems to be watching you. It is kind of framed by legs. Okay, and also I was trying to record as many interesting lighting scenarios as I could. This is a Doom type of the orangey lighting in the tunnel, with zombies of course. And this is the real life caustics. Based on my impressions, Venice is probably the best place to study lighting. I'm not sure what you feel, but I just drool over this lighting. I have just one thought rotating in my head like crazy. I have to create a render based on this photo. Or matte painting, or whatever. It's such a great place, and the lighting in this hallway in Vienna sends the shivers down my spine. It's so damn beautiful. And in general, Vienna is a good place not only to drink coffee and eat an Apfelstrudel, but also to study lighting too. I can totally imagine myself wandering in Vienna and taking photo after photo, just to capture different flavors of the local lighting, so to speak. And this dynamic sculpture in Prague really blurs the line between computer graphics and reality. Then I show this photo to anybody, they go like, is it CG? Oh, come on. And this is particles. Didn't I say that you can also study particles? Okay. Alright, and this is Lena, my wife, and the particles. Alright, so basically this is what we saw while we were traveling through Europe. And my mind is blown. And thank you everyone for your advice, and thank you for inviting me to Turin, to Prague, to Warsaw. I appreciate that so much. And Andrea, the next time I'll be in Rome, I'll drop you a line and we'll record an interview, a podcast, and whatever else we can imagine. Adam, Gabriel, Isaac, Anthony, thank you so much. I really appreciate your invitation. Alright, so for everyone who wants to get a bunch of fresh new visual ideas, I want to say this: travel and keep your eye open. And I promise you won't regret. So this was Gleb Alexandrov for CreativeShrimp.com. See you next time.